sick, so none of it really happened. Should we still fake it? Should we still try to talk about it? Just make up names? Okay, great.
Here you see in their native form 2 white American men passing the buck to someone else.
By the way, I am recording you right now. Secondly, please watch Your Arms on Dining Room Table. You know this. You're a pro. Listen to that.
It's
okay.
just some ASMR.
Just gonna have to cut
Some
all
ass
this shit.
mister.
Listen, I'm the one that has to edit this bullshit. Please stop.
Ass mister.
Okay, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Can I have my drink? Can I have my beverage then?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so this is Kevin reaching into his Mary Poppins bag of tricks, pulling out a fucking comically large Arizona iced tea.
These are 40s of Arnold Palmer.
They're not. They're 20.
Yeah.
They're 40s.
24s.
It's 40 ounces between them.
Oh my God.
And
look at
40
that
ounces
thing.
of freedom.
Oh.
R.I.P. Sublime.
All right.
Woo!
Oh,
Watch out now.
We got a live one.
Got a live one.
I can't.
Here's the only actual
You
live
and your
one.
tiny fingers did it. Oh, welcome to Podlander, Drunkcast, and Outlander podcast. I'm Allison.
I'm Julie.
That is these two.
I'm Neal.
I'm Kevin.
And it's time for Dudelander.
I was just gonna say, it feels like it really happened super fast this time. Like maybe I wasn't ready, or
I'm definitely not ready.
like,
Well, I mean, I think part of that is that we waited 2 years and then like 2.5 months.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Dudelander very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what it is
It's
now?
Christmas all over again.
Now it's
I can't explain them.
We're here to explain ourselves.
you really are not.
Kevin is
I'm
like,
not
absolutely
explaining
not.
anything about how I
for
choose
those
to
of
be.
you who perhaps joined the show in this season and are unfamiliar with what the fuck is happening right
I'm
now,
so sorry.
Boy.
Dudelander is an episode where Julie and I invite her husband, Neal,
Truly a happening.
and our close personal friend, Kevin Lambert, who would really like to make sure that I say his full name, because he's only in this for the follows.
Which have just flowed in aggressively every year.
So much exposure. To talk about the most recent season of Outlander. And they watch it devotedly, despite having, I'll say, somewhere between mild to none at all to less than zero interest in the show.
Yes.
I mean, I would say we enjoy good drama with good performances and good writing, good direction, good production, and we also watch Outlander.
oh damn! I don't have my fucking fan. I don't have my fan. That was a
they
burn.
say that,
Cheers.
but they also both recognize that there's some very good acting on this show, and occasionally someone will get out of a tub of blood and let the blood run down their naked body, and then Kevin is really interested in Outlander.
That was the apex. And it has been downhill for, 3 seasons now?
Well,
Well, we'll talk about it.
we'll
We're going
talk
to get
about
into
this season because
it. This season,
Nothing reaches that summit.
no, I'm not saying it summited. I'm not saying it peaked. I'm just saying, it's coming up.
This is going to be a live one.
yeah,
I can tell.
Let's see.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk to these two chumps about a television show that we know accurately, correctly, and truthfully to be excellent. They are going to tell lies about it.
French.
They are going to, oh my God, they're going to defame it. They're going to embarrass themselves. And then you all can leave reviews on iTunes about which one of them is meaner to the other.
Oh,
Oh
boy.
yeah. You
Oh,
know what?
man.
It never came back though. I feel like you turned a new leaf over in Dudelander.
Dudelander, 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Callers, call in now. Tell us which one you think is meaner.
I think somebody told me that they thought I was meaner to you
Oh,
recently.
yes, that happened at a live show. Somebody said,
yes.
yeah.
But only one person has gone on iTunes, taken the time to leave a review that said that I was meaner to you.
Yeah.
I wish that Kevin would be nicer to Neal.
3 out of 5.
I don't. 3 out of 5. Cheers, folks. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Pressures, lines.
So, Outlander. What's up with that?
What a great question. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, we were talking about this before you guys got settled, and we were thinking that there should just be a general chat first, and then we're just going to remind you each episode, since there's only 8 episodes a
We've
season.
got some things that we want to cover. So what we want to hear are your general overall thoughts. What's top of mind, things that bugged you, things you really liked. Then we'll go episode by episode to see what, if anything, you remember. We'll refresh you on it a little bit.
Like a lightning round, though.
Yes.
Like literally.
We're not going to say so what happened in episode 3, and then wait for
Right.
you to make sounds.
We're
We're
not
going to
gonna do
say,
that.
in episode 3, here are some things that happened, and then you will say, oh right, the fingers,
Yeah.
as an example.
Well, Kevin was just
Kevin, did you seriously forget the fingers?
I mean, there are so many hand-related storylines. There's surgery on a hand.
Yeah.
There's
dead fingers.
Dead fingers.
I was
I'm
talking
assuming,
about dead fingers.
I'm assuming in the church there's a little bit of
Fingering
finger
happening in
action
there.
there as well.
Probably,
There's
yes.
definitely some room fingering, so we're gonna have to be specific when we come
There
to
is
the fingers.
There is vroom. You know what? Where else should we start? But with vroom
I
fingering.
will. My biggest bugaboo: the fucking runtimes on these episodes to start the
too
season.
long for you.
Well, especially at the beginning, right?
Oh my god,
Really
it was a
long at the
chore.
beginning,
What
yeah.
a chore! I don't know how anybody wants to voluntarily sit through that.
Well, and Kevin was telling me that a lot of this season reminded him of the 2007 films Obsession, starring Beyonce Knowles and
Idris
Idris Elba.
Elba,
Kevin, do you want to talk more about
Allulander.
that?
I mean, yeah, we're really just going straight into obsession talk. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
Obsession?
similarities into. I think that quote from Obsession is best, which is, "Why are you so obsessed
Yeah.
with me, Allie Larder?" Which is a direct quote from the movie.
Yep.
He calls her by her real name.
They kind of break the fourth wall
Yeah,
in that film.
that's the way
Great.
the movie
Great.
was structured.
Wow.
But I have to say, the first episode of this season was only 20 minutes shorter than the motion picture Obsession,
right.
which is a real struggle.
Okay, well, let me ask a question for someone who
Hasn't seen Obsession? It's it's available on iTunes. It's
You know what, Kevin? I'm a little disappointed in your commitment to the bit because the Kevin Lambert I know and love, the Kevin Lambert of old, of days of yore, would have absolutely watched Obsession and taken notes specifically in service of this bit.
It was absolutely our intention to have done so, except we both came down with COVID at separate times.
Womp womp.
And it blew up our schedule, so we couldn't make Obsession happen.
I have a question for Julie. Julie, is this when you found out that your husband and Kevin are having a sexual affair?
No, I've known that for a long time.
Okay, great.
we love our erotic thrillers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And mouth
Totally.
kissing.
Look, he is
Body
bringing that
heat.
shit up all the fucking time. I want you to know this. Like, we're just walking down the street the other night, and he's like, "Is it time to start our erotic thrillers movie club?" And I'm like, "Where did this fucking come from?" And now I
And
know.
erotic
It's
thrillers,
Kevin
but
Lambert.
erotic thrillers are having a moment. It's true. First of all, this season of Outlander, erotic thriller.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a little bit of thriller shit to it.
There is. Oh, come on! Someone cuts off a dead fingers off a dead body.
Well,
It'd be
but-
weirder if they were cutting live fingers off a dead body.
my opinion actually is that some of the best stuff I love about this season of Outlander is I would classify that stuff as folk horror. This is an excellent folk horror sort of story that they're telling this season, right? When you think about your Wickermans, your Vavitches, right? It's got a lot of.
Oh, I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
I mean, for the listeners.
Thank you. I'm so used to men mansplaining cinema to me, cinema, that I just assumed. So, what besides the fingies?
I mean, all the sense of like here are people in a culture less primitive, more primitive than our own, but they have a community out in sort of a remote area, and there is
I see what you're saying.
something
Like
going
the fisher
on.
folk.
Yeah, and there's something going on, and there's just like a vibe of like something
Ooh,
is wrong.
Neal, this is a fascinating point because if we were watching this, legitimately, Kevin looks so surprised.
Yes, we got to
He
a
gagged.
legitimate point
Gagged.
very
No,
quickly
this is
today.
very interesting because if you were to take this season and flip the perspective on it, so you were seeing it from the perspective of Tom Christie or one
Who's
of the
that?
other fisher folk, fuck you.
Yeah. Like you don't know.
Amy McDonald, whoever. One of those, maybe from Donald McDonald.
McDonald's of the McDonald's.
Of the McDonald's. Then it is 100% folk horror because Claire is this mysterious figure who you don't understand
The
why
witch
she's
on the
so
ridge.
different. The witch on the ridge, exactly.
That's awesome.
Truly.
Yeah.
And then you think about moments like the body on the fucking hay or whatever, the reeds, whatever she was lying in. Because that is totally something you would see in like a Robert Eggers movie or an Ari Aster movie. 100%.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting show.
But seriously, finding the bits of the spell in the woods is all very kind of Blair
Yeah.
Witchy and all this other stuff. And,
Oh, that's a really
and just
great
the
point.
vibe.
All right, so that's we are gonna quit while we're ahead. When we're 1 for 0.
That's
so
right. Goodbye,
Thank you
everybody.
so much.
That's all the only good point I brought with me.
Well, it was a very good point.
And Kevin, just generally speaking, was like, meh.
So this season was 8 episodes, and I honestly thought for 5 of them there was 0 point to them being put on TV.
But for the other 3, was
Truly?
it more or less enjoyable than last season?
More enjoyable.
Okay.
More enjoyable.
For those 3
yeah.
best episodes, in your opinion.
I mean, truly, when we do our final Dudelander wrap up, what, 3 seasons from now? However long they're renewed.
Unclear, but
Unclear.
probably
Well,
something
I
like
mean,
that.
look,
6 seasons on a movie.
they're on borrowed time with Katrina Balfe.
Balfour,
Like,
Yeah, and there's an end
And
to
Sam
the
Heughan.
source material, right?
And
yeah.
Lauren Lyle, frankly,
You don't- I
who
thought-
is,
Yeah.
You don't think Sam Heughan's just gonna keep doing this thing as long as they'll have him?
Oh, he will, but I mean, he's also. No, he'll be doing both. He'll be going to Outlander conventions for the rest of his fucking life for 2 reasons. 1, money, and 2, because he seems to really like Outlander.
Yeah.
Like sincerely, really like Outlander.
It's a great character. I mean,
Yeah.
it really
I
is.
mean, not to say that Katrina does not. There was a couple of like interesting articles before
Christina
this season.
who?
Katrina, but you got it, bud. A couple interesting articles before the season about, she just had her first child, which kudos to them for hiding baby bumps.
Oh, man.
But I don't see her. She definitely addressed some of the toxicity in the fandom of like how they desperately want her and Sam to be a couple in real life, and get the fuck over yourselves.
Shippers.
Yeah.
What is their
These
problem?
are real people that are
I
pretending
want
to
to
be
say
other
I have
people.
no problem with shippers. I have problem with people who ship real people
Right.
or who are unable to draw a line between the fictional characters. And for example, I am a diehard Brianna Marsley stan.
Yeah.
I want them to bang it out.
Yeah.
I'm not really. I'm making that up. I was trying to think
But
of.
I can see it and I like it.
Yeah.
Describe that very slowly and don't stop.
Well, so the first step is they get out of the pool of blood.
Nailed it.
10 out of 10.
I'm in, and 100%.
So yeah, I think shipping is fine. I think shipping is a great way of engaging with the fandom and sort of why not be invested in characters you love?
But real people, you're right.
But
That's the line.
When you start to attack real people about it, whether it's you're shipping real people and so you're mad that they are married to or dating other people, which is fucked, or you're invested in a couple so you harass the people who write it on television or the people who play the roles on television, that is also not good. There's some toxic shit out there, folks.
Yeah, I just don't.
It's like the people who ship Rick and Morty.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I was just kidding. They don't. I'm sure somebody does.
Somebody
Somebody
does. In this vast world and that vast internet, there is that asshole.
No, the toxic thing about the Rick and Morty fandom has nothing to do with shipping.
And everything to do with rampant misogyny. Anyway, Patty.
Yeah,
All right,
you
let's
know.
move on. So, generally speaking, Neal, you appreciate it. You like this season a little bit more than recently, right?
Yeah. Yeah. As it got started, I was kind of like, but there was a lot of stuff I liked.
And Kevin is like 3 episodes were good.
Yeah, the last 3 episodes when I actually felt like there was a legitimate like thrust in the story, and it wasn't just each episode having kind of prolonged character development. I mean, those are
He's hating on the
fine,
hot piss.
Yeah, you better take that back.
Yeah.
I take nothing back.
Okay, so
You only like hot piss when it's directly on your face. Is that what you're saying?
This is on the record. This is on the
This
record.
is on the record.
One way or another.
Definitively no. But
Sorry, lady.
Yeah, that's
So,
canon now, folks. Sorry.
if that is general thoughts, let's go ahead and do just a little bit of lightning round. It's only 8 episodes, and yes, I know that some of them were longer this season, but we're just going to give you some
that
notes
was
about what was in them.
And that was the specific question I was going to ask before I get distracted by something idiotic that one of you said. No, I think it was by you having a good point. Also very distracting.
Weird,
and
right?
ridiculous, really.
But it was a really good point.
It's ridiculous that I have it.
I'm gonna fucking turn that into a think piece and make my fortune.
Oh.
So, would you rather have journalism doesn't pay. Would you rather have 8 episodes that are long or 16 episodes that are normal length?
I would go with the former, I guess.
I'm-
Because we're saying overall less time. 8 long episodes is going to be less
You're
time.
talking about like 80
cumulatively.
minutes as opposed to.
Yeah.
16, 40,
16, 30-minute episodes?
Well, it's cable, so we're looking at like 52 minutes probably.
I mean, I'm torn. On the one hand, I enjoy hanging out with Neil. But on the other hand, I'd have to watch more minutes. You know what? No, it would be shorter because when they have demonstrated that they stretch out some of the source material or fill in gaps that weren't there, not so good. So I would probably do shorter just so that
Shorter episodes? More shorter episodes?
No. Fewer episodes, longer runtime.
Like this season. So like
because I
8.
feel like they would probably be a little bit more dedicated and focused in their storytelling than if they said, let's do 16 50-minute episodes. Then there's just more padding. And there's only so many times I can watch a baby float down a river, you know?
I mean, yeah.
You know there'd be like 5 episodes of just babies floating in rivers.
I think it being a shorter episode actually did make the season, or shorter season, make it better.
I do too.
Even though I'm generally not a fan of that for prestige drama, right? The 8 episode series and 3 years between seasons thing, right?
And the first episode I think had the longest runtime, and I think it's because there was 25 minutes of, hey, it's been a long time, so let's fill you in on what has happened in the series, because you should immediately after watching these just dump any memory of them from your brain. Oh God.
Speaking of, I just went to Wikipedia and they don't have any of the descriptions of the episodes for season 6 yet. They have them for every season.
It's because they're
season 6.
indescribable.
I think it's probably because it's pretty new. So we're gonna have to go to the old notebook.
Or, I don't know, my phone.
Yeah, well, that's what I tried.
Oh, right, but
What's another source?
Outlander Wiki.
Ooh!
Too much information.
I don't even know what that is.
So many pop-up ads.
Yeah, wikis do have pop-up ads.
So many pop-up ads.
So
Okay.
many.
Okay, I'm here.
Kevin, why you have no idea what we're talking about, do you?
I would never. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I never would have thought that there was an Outlander wiki, because I would never.
Yeah, but you know that, going to the wiki page,
I got
wiki
it.
fan pages have a million ads.
Which page
Yeah.
is it on?
Season
Don't
6.
know.
It's on the season 6 page, but I've got it.
There's no. You don't
Here,
go
I'll
to
text
Chicago
you the
Cubs
link.
wiki?
Okay.
It's called Baseball Reference.
I have better ways to waste
and I'm
my
a
time.
subscriber.
Yeah. I love baseball reference guide. It's wonderful.
I thought that was something you made up for a second.
No, that's real.
It's legit.
Yeah, the day Basketball Reference went behind a paywall was a bad day for me.
Oh, I remember your spreadsheets.
Oh, yeah.
They were really intense.
Taught myself to use Excel.
Yeah, he created his own
Defensive
stats.
stats, yeah. And a good 3-point shooting stat that I still stand by.
Never get between Neil Starward and his current hobby.
No, please, do not. In fact, just turn around and leave the room. It's the safest bet.
Okay, so episode 1 was Echoes. In the bone.
In the bone.
Jamie's authority is tested when an old rival from Ardsmuir shows up to settle on the ridge. Claire finds a new way to cope with the trauma of her assault by Lionel Brown. So, there
Ether
are other
madness
things that
starts,
happen,
yeah.
but yes, Ether...
So-
Ether Mask comes in.
No,
and-
Ether Madness.
Madness.
Ether
Ether
Madness.
Madness. Kevin, I have a question for you.
I'm sorry. Please let me get through the Reefer Madness joke because it's too good. Kevin, I salute you, sir. Right here. Like an Ether Madness.
Or maybe this is a question for the table. So
I'll take it.
Tom Christmas is our favorite new character on
Yes.
Outlander, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Character's great. Performer is excellent.
Kevin
He's-
looks like he might not agree.
He's introduced in this flashback situation.
Yeah.
Is the flashback good?
I think so.
I was a little bit flummoxed when it showed up. I was a little bit like, what? But then it makes sense that they went that far back to show you kind of the beginnings of this relationship between Jamie and Tom.
Yeah.
And I think more specifically, the beginnings of Tom's relationship to Jamie.
And how he sees
Here's
it.
what I'll say is I think later on I discovered that it had given me good information to setting up the relationship. but that I was actually kind of really confused about what the fuck was going on the whole time.
So long. It was so long.
I do think maybe the scene was a little bit too long, but I do think it did give us scenes. That's right. It was
like
2.
No, it was like 15. I mean, there was.
It was
the
a
blind
lot. There-
guy.
Oh, that's right, because they
there's
went into the jail.
There's
and
that
that's
really
right.
violent fight.
Oh,
He has dinner with the guy, with
Yeah.
the warden or whatever.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think it maybe was too much.
I
But I felt that I needed that information later, so I did
and
appreciate it.
as the person who's read the books,
These are books?
Oh my god. Kevin just got out his Kindle. Oh my god. Will you please read the first Outlander book and talk to me about it? Please. I'm asking you in front of a microphone so that if you say no, you have to say no to everyone
This
listening.
is going to be on the record.
Yeah, I will, before I answer your question, I will pull a first episode and do a 30-minute flashback and then answer your question.
Oh my god.
There was a point in time where I reached out to friend of the pod, Beth Locke, to read. I was going to read a book and just go into insane detail on a Dudelander from the book. And then this is why she's a friend in real life. Beth went, "That's a really funny bit. They're 800 pages." And I said, "No, I'm not.
Never mind.
I'm not doing this."
JK.
There's a really good audiobook version.
No, I would read it. I'll do it.
Yeah?
Book one.
Book 1.
All right, here's the thing.
What does she have to read?
All of baseball reference guy. No, I'll do it. Just be
Allison's like, no
prepared
problem.
for how it's gonna be more of me being like, "This stunk."
I mean, it is Diana Gabaldon's first book ever.
Book 1, or like
Book
you
1.
pick a book and I'll read a book. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Like if it doesn't have to start.
Just
at the
make sure
beginning.
it's one that you get from the
Oh.
library so that you can make notes in the margins and stuff.
Yeah,
my
and
God.
right.
No,
This
he
is
only does
filthy.
that with the Fountainhead. That's not true. I want to make it really clear.
I really wish I'd had my fan with me.
I want to make it really clear that was just a joke. Kevin.
You've not seen my copy.
Some people matter, some people don't.
Yeah, he would never read that. It's written by a woman.
That's not true.
That's not true. He loved the Sweet Valley High books.
I read all the Harry Potter because I think.
Oh, God. Hey, you know what Diana Gabaldon is not?
That bitch.
A fucking transphobe.
Yeah.
And again, just for all the people that might be new to this season, I am dragging Kevin on this because this is absolutely not who he is.
Yes, yeah. Don't go into iTunes and think that Kevin is being mean or Neil's being mean to Kevin. It's not true. We joke because we love, because he is a kind and compassionate human being.
Says you, McGillicuddy.
With short little legs.
They're so short. My alternate, you caught me off guard when I walked in late, which is a thing I hate, but if you had done it on the mic, I would have said it's because I woke up from an ether nap. There's so, and I get it, there's so much goddamn ether.
Yeah.
There's like a finite supply of this, right? Nope, she's got like an endless supply of ether.
She knows how to
made.
make it.
She knows how to make
She
it.
can
Well,
make
I know
it
what case.
herself.
Look, now I have stuff to say about the ether stuff, but are we just
Say
going?
it.
Is
Not
this
yet.
ether
We haven't really
block?
gotten
Okay.
into ether madness
Yeah.
yet.
We're
Right
not
now,
in the ether bag yet.
We're still on Tom Christie.
We're still a little
Because
bit
I got
in the
distracted
beginnings of
by
that.
Kevin. By the way, listeners, you tell me which book Kevin should read.
Oh, right, right.
I suddenly want it to be Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone.
That's the one I wanted to. In
But-
hardback.
You could
That's
borrow
heavy.
my copy. I mean,
So
it
you
is
can make
really.
notes in the margins.
I will.
Oh my god!
There's a lot of
Can
stuff
you imagine
underlined
getting
and
that
being
shit
like,
back?
"This is filth. This is my Tom Christie reading. This is all."
You
Listeners, tell us
bird.
which Outlander book Kevin should read. So, maybe one of the Lord John Gray novellas. Ooh, the one with zombies.
No. Like, what? There are zombies?
I mean,
No,
how
I
can
can't.
you believe that there wouldn't be, given all the shit that's already happened in these books?
We were
Actually,
teased off
if
mic
there-
about dinosaurs.
If
so,
there
like,
is content
zombies is
that
not
you
that far
haven't
off.
been exposed to, and likely won't be, like if it's going to be not on the show content, would that be better?
No, I don't want to read that bullshit.
No, I think one of the main series books is the best idea. Anyway, as a person who has read the books, none of those flashbacks, I all understood why they were happening immediately. Most of it's actually either something that you don't actually care about this. I'm saying it anyway. Most of it's either something that was sort of in the books and they changed it to use it here, even though it was used somewhere else, or it was an invention of the show. But it was all establishing how Tom Christie feels about Jamie and what it says about who he is and how he feels about himself, which is, I think, really important. To a character that they have done an admirable job of not over-explaining.
Yes.
IMHO.
Will the Mason stuff come back in any meaningful way? Because I felt like,
Oh my God,
Yes.
they're doing the little doodly handshake.
oh my God, fucking Chekhov's Mason handshake. Is this? And then the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
season, it was like nothing.
No, they will.
Okay.
It will. It's a whole. It's the way he keeps the people on the ridge from killing each other.
Okay.
It's a big deal.
I mean, I assume it could play into the Revolutionary War since all those dudes were fucking Masons also. I've seen National Treasure.
Which is getting a sequel.
Another sequel?
Yeah, that's the big rumor there.
Natty T3?
with
Natty
Nick Cage
T.
back in the mix.
More John Voight. That's what those movies need.
So much of his
Thank you.
creaky ass racist
Filming
dad.
every scene in front of an American flag. Just whispering
Okay,
garbage.
Other thoughts on our Ardsmuir flashbacks or any of the Tom Christie stuff, or on how fun it is to watch
I mean,
Roger
lots of Tom
fuck
Christie
shit
I'm
up.
sorry,
thoughts,
you
but-
guys keep saying Tom Christie. It's Tom Christmas.
Sure.
We've
That's
established
what it
this.
is.
Yeah, when I wrote my big book report on Treasure Island in like 10th grade literature, and I went to school with a kid named
This is a great story when you have all the details.
Jim. What's the character's actually name?
I don't
I
remember.
went to school with a kid named
Hawkins.
I went to school with a kid named Jim Hawkins. I've gone to school with him my whole life, and in the entire book report, I called Jim Hawkins Jim Hawkings, and the teacher fucking gave me an F for giving his name wrong.
See, fuck that person.
Good.
That's bad educating.
No, that's
That
good
is
educating.
Terrible. No.
Like
there are
pulled me
consequences.
aside and was like, it was like, you called him Jim Hawkins through the whole thing. I was like, oh, that's crazy. He was like, no, it's not funny. I was like, oh,
This guy created 4chan.
whatever. I still liked Treasure Island.
He read the whole book. He was into it too. That's the part that you're right is bad education because the teacher could tell that you read it. You had enough detail, and you just got the name wrong. That's
That's somebody whose head is firmly up their own ass.
It's also possible he didn't flunk me, and I just remember the talking to, and I turned that into a flunking in my head.
That actually
Okay.
does
You know
really
what?
sound
That
like
tracks.
you.
That tracks.
tracks. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually
Snowflake.
side with writing the legend, but this might seem a little harsh.
Okay, hold on. We got to get to episode 2.
All right. Wait, no, because there was Ether.
I
We're
honestly-
still
Oh,
on
I've got
episode 1.
Ether stuff. I got Tom Christmas stuff. But
But-
do we want to go episode by episode
We
on
got
this?
we got
But-
drunk Fergus stuff.
Ether stuff is doesn't really come to a head until later. So
Great.
you're right. There is drunk Fergus stuff here that is not mentioned in the little breakdown here.
Yeah.
Remember, Fergus was only there for like 3 episodes.
Yeah, Drunk
right?
Fergus. That's all front loaded. Let's talk about that.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, I don't know what the drunk Fergus. Great, cool.
Yeah, it was
And
kind
then
of
he-
sad and boring at the same time.
Yeah,
Heard.
and then he massaged the breasts of his wife.
Yeah, and
to
then he
get her
fucked
pregnant.
off to Chekhov's printing press.
They all did.
Yeah.
He didn't fuck off alone. He's a shitty dad. But
He was
he's
just
not
there,
that
and then
shitty. Yeah.
next thing we know, he's gone. Where's he gone? Oh, he's gone to a printing press. Well, I assume like the handshake, Mason handshake, that's coming back somehow.
I mean, right?
did.
Didn't he go to?
kind of.
Well, it
No,
did.
I mean, you don't remember the part where Fergus founded The Onion, America's favorite newspaper?
He did.
Les Oignons.
That's it. Why is 90% of my life listening to you pronounce the word onion hilariously?
Onions.
Onions. Onions.
Onions.
Onions. What a classic.
So,
You guys, all 3 of them just looked so pleased with themselves and then looked up at the ceiling and sighed
You're
while
right.
smiling. All 3 of them did it simultaneously,
big-
and it was not a bit.
Yeah, I don't
mine
know
was
if
for
your-
Dennehy.
Your listeners might not know about the song Dennehy by Serengeti. It's,
Favorite
Chic-
actor, Dennehy.
Yeah, possibly
Favorite
the
Drinko Duels.
Yeah,
I know.
Bears,
Bears, Hawks, Sox, Bulls.
It's the greatest song the city of Chicago has ever produced. You should all check it out.
Yes,
Even
Chicago.
the
Big
Chicago
city.
Bulls remix, also very good.
Nah,
No.
the Bulls remix
No,
is not
if you loved the Bulls,
No.
it's not as good, dude. You
No.
know it. It's just not as
It's
good.
just not.
I gotta go.
The first one is so good that they just couldn't. But I'm glad they came back.
But so Fergus was an asshole.
So
he was
Fergus
drunk all the
question.
time.
The one thing I remember, other than boob magic, which I thought was kind of stupid, but the
Have you ever touched a boob? Because then it's
I mean,
you understand it.
They
That's
are
powerful.
magical,
Yeah.
and I just live with them every day, so it's like practical magic.
You just
know
take
what I'm
you
saying?
take those miracles for granted. I get it.
It is also actual. It is. I mean, it supposedly works.
Right? Yeah, he's stimulating her hormones. Basically, is what's happening. He is.
Helping her poop that baby out.
Yeah, he is helping her push that baby out.
That's science.
It is science, actually, weirdly, but nobody cares about women's health. Anyway, Patty. So, what did you think about my favorite scene that Caesar Donboy did in his short time on the season was the scene where Sam found him trying to commit suicide.
Oh, they're sitting on the log?
Yes.
That was his best moment of the season.
I think he did a very good job, and I just, want him to get his ups.
It was the best moment of the season. It was right before he fucked off to apparently to do a printing press or something.
A satirical newspaper.
But I don't think it justified how sort of sad and boring the rest of the storyline was.
Okay.
Kevin, thoughts?
Struggling to remember.
That says it all.
No, he was gonna. He had a gun, or did he have a bunch of pills?
No, he was cutting himself up.
Oh, that's right.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that I don't remember.
See, yeah.
All right, so no real thoughts.
It really
there.
was. I mean, there was a
I
lot of
had thoughts.
there were a lot of those storylines at the beginning of the season that really were
Yeah.
kind of boring, or they were almost self-contained. Like we'll get to Ian's like missing years when he was.
So does that make sense to do it episode by episode, or just like let it follow through?
I think
the
both.
Theme?
Don't force it. We'll just talk, and then we'll move to episode 2, and we'll see.
You're right, but I also don't want to be here for 3 fucking hours.
We won't be. That's a whole episode, so we'll get to that episode. But I mean, this is the introduction of a couple of important season-long storylines. Tom Christie,
Christmas.
Tom Christmas, and Buddy the Ether Mask, which is introduced here, obviously. And the more important thing is we are allowed to see that Claire is convincingly pretending to be fine, even though she just as clearly is also obviously not fine.
Yes. She's great this season.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
Oh. Isn't she?
Until her Felicity moment, which we'll get to, and
Woof.
then they quickly were like, "Let's regrow that hair. We don't want to have another Felicity on."
Oh my god, I loved the short hair. The wig was not good, but fucking Katrina Balfe can shave her fucking head and still be incredibly
It's
beautiful.
the mid-length that's my fave.
Especially if she
little
wears
bob.
that coat.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That
That entire nun get up.
Yeah,
That costume
it's
is
great.
fucking incredible.
I mean, she literally looks like she might just break out some fucking kung fu on him.
Yes!
Oh,
Yes, she does.
Yes. She is definitely like somewhere. Bruce Wayne is trekking through the woods to find her so that he can learn the lost art of some martial art we've never heard of.
Yeah, she's just walking the earth.
Yeah, she's
Exactly.
walking the earth.
Who was the costume designer this season? Was it someone they've had before?
I think all the people that are working on it now started out under Terry Dresbach. I don't know who the head costumer is anymore. But
I'm looking it
these
up.
are people, I think most of the team are people that have been working on the show for a long time.
because that coat, and then its dual purpose of also just hiding the baby bump. Was just well done.
But
Yeah.
the silhouette
The
is
hat,
fucking iconic.
the shape
you know?
of the hat,
Yeah.
everything. She really did look like
Well,
a
and-
monk traveling the earth. Like,
Well, and also a little bit like the nuns that she hangs out with in season 2 in
Oh,
Paris,
yeah. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Similar
Mother Hildegard.
colors. Mother
Dawn,
Hildegard
Faith.
yes.
Faith.
Button
Okay.
is Bouton.
Okay.
and
Is it
Bouton, the dog.
Yeah.
The cancer-sniffing dog. I fucking love Bouton.
But to me, the costume, if we are talking about the costumes briefly, the costumes that I'm obsessed with are all the First Nations people's costumes. And they have done, over the last 3 seasons, such an amazing job of educating me, frankly, because there's so many different, like, things about reusing and recycling pieces, and how in this season we get to see 2 different groups. We get to see the Mohawk and the Cherokee side by side and how they are differently dressed. And I was fascinated. And did that ever read to you guys, or was it not?
The thing that jumped out to me was more with that was, first of all, how vibrant it was. Like, it was just the vibrant colors and everything else was really fun. But then the repurposing of things that had clearly come from colonists or someone, like the European pieces that they'd incorporated, jumped out to me. That mainly those metal plates, I think, that they were hanging around.
Oh yeah, like the
looked
Mayor
like the thing-
McCheese has one. The
Yeah.
big, the big like gold.
Yeah,
gold,
whatever that shit
the
that
Flava Flav chest
that
plate.
shit that the red coat officers wear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin.
No, I was like checked out for most of that stuff.
You didn't like Kaharaton's costume when he comes in the red coat with the skunk pelt and all that shit. Like, none of that like reached out, and none of that shook you or made you think about how these clothes or garments were made or anything.
No.
Okay.
No.
Fair.
I mean,
Yeah, don't
I
force
mean,
it.
Neal is the one that's about fashion.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I'm wearing a Teen Wolf t-shirt. Like, no, I'm not. One of 3 Teen Wolf t-shirts, but like,
Whoa.
this is
Okay.
no, it didn't. I think where it sticks out to me is that there is, like you said, that the show has done a lot to educate you, because our public school education is there. It's a whitewash
Yes.
of there are these individual tribes, but then we all kind of look at them as
A monolith.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that is
Thanksgiving
not
was
true.
cool.
Yeah,
but
no.
to me, what always sticks out is that there is time and care put into certain things in the show, and then other things, it's like, fuck it, 1,000 windows, right? Like
Yes.
it's like no, if you're gonna put that same amount of effort into, we want to show these First Nations people, but we want to show that they've had interaction with these colonists, and how does that change them? How do they change as people living? And then also at the same time, you're like, I don't know, let's just put a bunch of stained glass in a house. Let's have rooms.
So you
and
get
stuff.
mad.
It's like,
You get mad at the Pottery Barn aspect of the set dressing.
no, I get mad at the, like, a lot of thought and care and attention goes into one area, and then another area, it's like,
We get to bitch about it, like, right? Too many windows.
we're gonna like, or we'll like skate by and be like, yeah, no one's gonna, no one's gonna call us on this.
Overall, I really did love the costumes this season, but once again, it was specifically because of the First Nations costumes. The rest of the stuff, except for the gathering at.
Oh, I think the costumes were great. Trish Big Art, by the way, is the
Thank
costume
you.
designer's name.
Thank you.
And she took over for Terry Dress back in season 4. No, I think that they were great all season.
I just the ridge stuff is very easily kind of like white noise to me. Like, it's just kind of background stuff.
Well, but-
Except for like Brianna's fucking denim shit and her weird
Her
like
coat,
70s shit.
Yes, like all of
That
the
shit was
little,
cool.
all the little tiny, or Marsley dresses differently from the way Brianna does. Like, there's a lot of thought put into the way that the character. I mean, background characters, certainly the background characters are going to be less interesting than the First Nations people, but like.
Oh, I guess that what's happened too is like when he went to the printing press, did Marsley stay or go with him?
No, she went with his ass, and then
Yeah.
everybody shat themselves to death
Yeah.
the minute she left the ridge.
That's a bummer.
As one Julie Starbird famously said in an episode of Podlander, Drunkcast, and Outlander podcast,
Marsley
Marsley
leaves
leaves
the
and
ridge.
it all goes to shit.
It's a good podcast, Neil. You should listen to it sometime.
He hates the sound of a woman's voice.
Just gonna let that hang
Just
out there.
give it some air.
Maybe some
Okay.
public domain yakety sax right now.
And that was the end of the podcast that you're listening to. Thank you for listening. You can find us on social media on Instagram at Podlander Presents and at Sickburn Jane and at Podlandercast and at Podgerton Bridgecast and probably other places eventually. But for right now, it's there. You can look for those handles also on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook.com/Podlandercast. You can also find us on Patreon, where you can support the show, get access to bonus episodes, our live crowdcast events, all kinds of fun shit, our Slack. Yay, fun, lovely things. We want to thank all of our patrons, but especially the following wonderful people who, for June, made it possible for us to do this show with extra dollars. So thank you too. Here we go. June 2022. Doc JWS. I saw Goody Parked with the Devil. Kelly Armstrong. Sydney Taylor. Just Bree. Catspaw156. Maddie Perkins. Snazenak. Lisa Brienne. Julia Gulia. Kathleen Martini. Lauren Tennant. Kelsey Kemp. Emily Day. Betsy English. Kaylin Reddit. Jen Collins. Ashley Teagus and Tina Barnett. Nicole Rodriguez. Kristen Freckle Fury. Laura Colm. Amelia Bazell. Liz and Tinkerbell. Stella Welch. Tori Halligan. Claire Feeney. Rochelle Lefevre. Amanda Smazza. Jerry Hurdle. Emily Carlson. Amy Gustafson. Rachel Townsend. Kelly Mazzella. Chantel Salters. Mary. The Falling Statue. Tara Lucchino. Viv Pickles, a.k.a. Laura. Mary of the Grapefruit. Jenna Polkowski. Ann Gibson. Ruth McCormick. Kara Marlowe. Trish McCurry. Julie DeToy. Jen Lynn. Kelly Bond. Amanda Newton. And Kiki. The Wise. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week to talk about more dumb shit. Bye! Was that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe just leave that part in too.